Hello, Adrian Botham here from How to Invest in Shares. I hope you're well. This is the second video in a two-part series looking at a common problem for beginners to share investing, and that is how much money should you put into each share that you buy. Last week we looked at the theory. This week I'm going to consider different scenarios and give you some practical examples of what you can do to overcome this problem. So let's start then by assuming that you have a lump sum to invest in shares. You could have got it from a payoff of a redundancy package, or an inheritance, or a divorce settlement even, it doesn't really matter. And let's assume that you have $5,000 to invest in shares. If that's the case, I would suggest that you put $500 into 10 different companies. Similarly, if you had $10,000 to invest, I would assume you now put $1,000 into the same 10 different companies. Alternatively, if you had $15,000 to invest, you now have a choice to make, because clearly you could put $1,500 into the same 10 different companies, or you could put $1,000 into 15 different companies. It's entirely up to you. The choice really depends on whether you would rather minimise your risk from having $1,000 in 15 different companies, or whether you would rather maximise your returns through minimising your costs and putting $1,500 into 10. It's entirely up to you. It only starts to really make a difference at sums of maybe $30,000, and that's because there's something special about the number 30. There's an awful lot of research out there that shows that once the size of your share portfolio goes above 30 shares, the added advantage and benefit you get in terms of lower risk from adding a 31st or a 32nd share into your portfolio goes down quite rapidly. The other thing that you need to consider at this point is how much time it's going to take you to monitor your share portfolio. So for example, if you had $50,000 and $1,000 in each, that will be 50 different shares that you need to keep an eye on. You need to watch the news. You need to look at the latest results, so you can make some decisions as to whether to buy some more or whether to sell some of your shares. And quite clearly 50 shares is rather a lot for a typical private investor, a private investor that's got a day job and a life to live as well. Share investing in this way is supposed to be a passive activity, a bit of a hobby, something you can do in the background. It's not supposed to be a major part of your life. Therefore, really keeping your share portfolio down to 25 to 30 different shares is a manageable number. It gives you the majority of the benefit from sharing the risk and spreading the risk for a portfolio, and it therefore means that once you get above about $25,000, $30,000, you need to start to think now about putting more money into each share so that you can keep the size of the portfolio down to that manageable level of 25 to 30 different shares. Let's now take a look at the scenario where there is not a lump sum of money to invest at the beginning. So you're accumulating savings with the intention of investing it in shares in the stock market. So if this is you, I would suggest that you start by saving a minimum of $500, and as soon as you get the $500, I would invest all of it into shares of a single company. I will then save up a second $500 and invest that in a second company so that you spread your risk. Then save a third $500 and buy shares in a third company, and continue in this way until you have 10 different companies and $5,000 invested. Then when you get your 11th $500, You now have a choice to make whether to buy an 11th company and put $500 into it, or whether to buy $500 of one of the companies you are already invested in and start to build up your holdings. It's entirely up to you. Each method is fine, I would suggest. It all depends whether you'd rather have a smaller portfolio and more money in it, thereby minimising your costs when you come to sell, because selling $1,000 of shares will cost you the same as selling $500 of shares. So by adding to your current holdings, your current companies, that will minimise your costs in the longer run, whereas adding to the number of different companies is going to spread your risk further. It's entirely up to you for the same reasons as I explained in the earlier part of this video. So in summary then, on this video we've looked at a number of practical examples of things that you can do to get started investing in shares. My name is Adrian Botham from How to Invest in Shares. I hope you found the video useful, and I look forward to meeting you again on one of my future videos. Bye bye for now.